In World of Warcraft Classic Hardcore, each leveling zone offers its fair share of challenges to almost anyone, and each player's experience through them is different. Previously, I covered 5 zones I thought were some of the deadliest in hardcore World of Warcraft, but by popular request, there were many more zones y'all thought deserved a spot on the list. That's why I bring to you 5 more of the most dangerous zones in World of Warcraft Classic Hardcore. These are also in no particular order. With that being said, let's move on to the first entry. First up is a zone that takes the most lives of low-level Alliance players, new and experienced, Westfall, home of the Defias Brotherhood and location of their home base, the Deadmines, in which they plot to take over Stormwind in the Alliance. This has many threats that are common in other zones, but differ in the sheer amount of threats that can put you in sticky situations with the lack of tools at the player's disposal. The Murlocs along the coast spawn in dense packs, often 3 or more, and can easily overwhelm new adventurers. The Harvest Watchers around the fields of this zone have some of the biggest aggro radiuses of any mobs in the game and are easy to pull on accident. The Defias around the zone are often clumped together and can quickly catch you off guard, especially the very hard-hitting Defias Pillagers with their fireballs and the elites on their way to the Deadmines. The Gnoll camps to the south are also quite treacherous, with so many Gnolls being in close proximity of each other, which can swiftly cascade out of control. The high-level Dust Devils that patrol parts of the zone are also quite treacherous and deserve caution. Westfall is so dangerous because players won't have many of their core abilities and survival tools to make it out of sticky situations, so the skills for surviving in hardcore will come down to the player's knowledge and awareness of their surroundings. Next in Kalimdor is the contested territory of Stone Talon Mountains, west of the Barrens. This zone has a smaller abundance of threats, but the ones that are there are extremely dangerous. The Charred Vale in the southwest of the zone has some of the highest mob density of any low-level zones, with dangerous mobs like the many spellcaster harpies, the basilisk that will stun you, and the elite Blood Fury Ripper, which does an insane amount of damage for its level. The Spider King to the south is also pretty dangerous, with the elite Besaleth being quite scary, as well as the spider hatchlings out of the spider eggs being able to chain spawn more and more spiders due to bad luck and no fault of the player's own actions. The Venture Co. and the Windshear Crag are also pretty scary with how close they are together and the ease of pulling a bit too many. Also, the quest Garenzo's Orders in the southeast of the crag in a cave with kobolds is probably one of the deadliest quests in Classic WoW and should be avoided at all cost, as it involves fighting many waves of many kobolds that can even be dangerous for up to 2 people. Then onto our next zone, we have the Ungoro Crater to the south, a zone for players in their early 50s and a massive cauldron full of dinosaurs, elementals, and titanic foes. First and the most obvious threat here is the roaming Devilsaurs, which are high-level elites that patrol all over the zone and are notorious for sneaking up on players from out of nowhere and catching them by surprise. Most of the time, if they do start chasing you, it is almost certain death for some classes. Then, Fire Plume Ridge in the center is somewhat dangerous for the hard-hitting fire elementals that lurk about, and the elite Blaze Runner at the top, which can easily take the player off guard if they don't know he's there. Then, the Karaji Hive to the south is a very precarious cave that is quite hard to take down alone with ease. The southwest of the zone is full of elite Stegodon mobs all over the place, so I would not recommend going, and if you do, it must be with great caution. Lastly, for Ungoro, the Gorilla Cave can be quite surprising, with the gorillas that will call for help at low health, which has a huge radius making it easy to accidentally chain pull 2 or more mobs without knowing. Following is one of the most expansive zones in all of Classic that spans around 20 levels starting in the early 30s and is known as Stranglethorn Vale, a massive jungle home to pirates, ogres, trolls, and numerous species of wildlife. Most first steps in this zone for Alliance players will involve the Curzon compound to the northeast, which can be quite dangerous with the many mobs in tight spaces, and the cave with numerous stealth mobs. The various troll ruins around the zone are especially unnerving with so many trolls in condensed areas, especially the area to the far northwest. The Moshog Ogre Mound being surrounded by and full of elites with its close proximity to other questing areas and allowing it to be walked into quite easily on accident can spell almost certain doom if you gain some ogre's attention without a party to help. The Vile Reef on the west coast is full of elite murlocs and can often end with players drowning or overwhelmed as they poorly swim away, even in groups of 2 or 3, and deserves the utmost precaution before going there, with water breathing potions and swim speed potions on hand. Zanzil and his minions to the south are also quite deadly, with the many ranged mobs and the mob density of the locations. Lastly, the Bloodsail Buccaneer ships are extremely dangerous to take on alone, with the many mobs clumped tightly together and their tendencies to pull through walls and small cracks in the ships. Many of these mobs do pretty high damage, such as the Elder Magus with its Fire Novas, and it can be very hard to run with the boats being surrounded by water, which often result in many deaths. And the final zone for this video has to be the Silverpine Forest, home to the evil Archmage Arugal and his following of Cursed Worgen. The most obvious and notorious danger here is the Sons of Arugal, high-level elite Worgen that roam certain parts of the zone and blend in with other Worgen of the area. They often can catch you off guard as they walk behind you from out of nowhere when you least expect it. I highly recommend the Unit Scan Hardcore add-on if you have trouble with the Sons of Arugal, because it will point them out when they are nearby, and they make it pretty hard not to notice them. Fenris Isle to the northeast in the middle of the lake is extremely dangerous for solo adventurers, with the insanely large amount of gnolls in the castle and the elite boss that lies within. Amber Mill is also extremely precarious, with the many Dalaran enemies within, some of which have slows and summon minions, which can make any situation turn sour quickly. Pyrewood Village, just south of Shadowfang Keep, is full of elites as well and should never be approached without a decent sized group. And that was the list of 5 more of the most dangerous zones in WoW Classic Hardcore. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, leave a comment below, and a like and subscribe would go a long way. If there are any other zones you would like me to cover, let me know. With that being said, I'm out.